Hi, babies. It's Mother Love, the even more fabulous Mother Love, and talking about all of my fabulous and all my mutation is this is the guy you want to talk to. This is the guy you want to learn from. He is a wonderful actor and just a really cool guy. This is Richard Lawson. He owns his own acting studio. But is it an acting? Well, welcome to the program, first of all. How are you?
Thank you. I'm wonderful. It's great to be here. Great to see you again.
Thank you very much. I told you people just think I fell out the sky like I don't know anybody. I don't know everybody, but I know everybody else because I get to know you.
I like that. I like that.
Well,
I
so
don't
you
know
gotta tell me
everybody,
what
but I know everybody else.
that I know. I don't know everything. I know everything else. So when y'all use it, it is like so. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to know everybody. You just need to know everybody. So now
Yeah.
tell us because you have such a unique story, and I mean you have layers of. It's not like a little. You come in with the gangbusters, and can I just say personally, I love all of your work, even when you play a bad guy. I love all
Yeah.
your and you do that really well too. That's what good actors do. You could play romantic, you could play the leader, you could play the son, you do everything. Tell us about your family, you growing up, and what got you into show business.
Well, I never thought about show business when I was growing up. I wasn't quite sure from time to time. The first thing, my first thought was that I would be a doctor and then eventually I was going to be a lawyer. But just to backtrack a little bit, I grew up in Oakland, California, with
Mhm.
my mother and father divorced when I was 6. And so for the early years, I was with a single parent, hardworking woman who worked 16 hours a day as a nurse. And and so my early years, I went from my mother's house to my aunt's house in Riverside, back to Oakland, back to Riverside, back to Oakland, because she was working so hard that it was just hard for her to be a mother and then be a a working woman too. So I grew up in both of those places as a kid, and every summer I would go to Louisiana to be with my grandparents, and that was just awesome because I was in the country. I was helping my grandfather in the fields. I was like a little shadow to him. He would go and plow the fields, either cotton or corn or sugar cane, and I would be out there with him, and then they would raise all the animals, and my grandmother would feed all the chicken, geese, and uh, and the fowl, and it was just such a wonderful time being in the country,
Mhm.
in Louisiana. But how did I find acting? I went to Vietnam in 1968,
See,
and I was
people don't even know how old you are. When you said you went to Vietnam, they expect to see some, all balled up guy. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your
thank
service
you.
because that could not have been easy. I remember when the troops came back to our neighborhood, they had a parade, down welcome them back, and people came outside their house and spit on them.
Yes,
And I never would have even thought anything like that because I come from a military family. Everybody, my uncle, my grandfather, my brothers, all of them was in the military. I didn't go to the military. I don't follow
right.
this really well. But nonetheless, I thank you for your service and I'm glad
Thank
you're
you.
well. Okay, back to the
Thank you.
story. So you came back from Vietnam.
Well, yeah, but that is important to mention is the fact that none of the soldiers that went to Vietnam were heroes. People would either literally or figuratively spit on the soldiers because it was a political firestorm, and nobody believed in it. And so we were not heroes to other people, which was particularly challenging to some people.
Mhm.
Um, anyway, when I came back, I got out of the service 3 months early because if you go to school, you get out 3 months early. So the only school that I can get into with that quick a notice was a junior college. So I
Mhm.
went to Chabot Junior College and got out 3 months early. And being that it was a junior college, it really wasn't. I was thinking I'm going to be a lawyer, and I figured, well, I'll go on the debate team until I can move to a 4-year
Mhm. Mhm.
school. And while there, this woman came in and she liked the sound of my voice, and she asked me to be in Reader's Theater. And so I joined them, and then she encouraged me to be on the forensics team, which is competitional speech, and I became the state champion,
No,
and I
color
was
me surprised.
undefeated. And then the drama coach said, would you be interested in doing a musical called Golden Boy? And I said, why not? And so, I did. And that was the start of my career. And while I was doing that production, one night during the last song, which was called I Ain't Bowing Down, I had a revelation. I had an epiphany right there that this is what I was put on this earth to do. And that was March 7th, 1969. And from that day to this one, I have had no desire to do anything else because this was my purpose. And so, as I tell people, I've been on vacation for 55 years.
Hey, no, you can't tell them that part. We gotta act like we can't act like we have to make this look like a real job. I have not had a real job since I drove a school bus. And I threatened 66 kids. I wish I would talk loud. Don't make me crash this bus. They're like, the bus driver crazy. No, isn't it something that you have a plan and then the universe has a plan for you and those two don't jibe and you go, wait, what? Really?
Yeah,
Really?
that's right.
And you never
That's
had
right.
any inclination of being and getting as big of star as you are. Because people need to know. See, it's a difference between celebrities and stars. You and I are stars. We gonna shine wherever we go, whatever
That's
we
right.
do. We not calling up at CVS saying, "Our mother love is on the pregnant aisle. She getting a birth control test." Really? It's not that serious. And you make it look so effortless. You really do.
Thank you.
This is something, and I know you had the studio. I know you tell people about the Richard Lawson studio because it's not just a theater workshop. Tell the people about what Richard Lawson Studios has.
Well, many years ago, 40 some years ago, my mentor, Milton Kinselis, asked me to uh, teach for him. And it was one of the most frightening things that I could ever think about doing because, at the time he was considered arguably one of the best acting teachers in the world,
Mm-hmm.
because he had nothing but the biggest stars in his class, George Clooney, Michelle Pfeiffer, Patrick Swayze, Giovanni Ribisi, Doris Roberts, Jenna Elfert, on and on, Jim Carrey, on and on. And
Mm-hmm.
so he asked me to teach. And so therefore, I was one of all of these people's teachers. And then later on, I started teaching my own class, and sort of, off of what he created, the foundation of what he created, I created my own approach and philosophy. And on the surface, it's an acting school, but underneath the hood, it's really an empowerment academy.
Mm-hmm.
I empower people to achieve their dreams. And because the one thing that I understand, and that um, a lot of actors, first of all, let me just say this: being an actor is not good enough. You can be a great actor and sit around and wait on somebody to hire you. You have to have the understanding of the fact that this is show
Business.
business.
Thank you.
And you have to understand the business of show. So I'm in the process of writing a book right now, which is part one, which is show, part two, which is business.
Mm-hmm.
And they are two separate things. Some of the greatest, I always say, listen, George Clooney was not George Clooney when he was studying. He became George Clooney later, the
Mm-hmm.
George Clooney that people know.
Mm-hmm.
But he and his best friend would sit next to each other, and I don't remember who his best friend is today, but George Clooney was an amazing artist, and he had a vision for himself. And so therefore he learned how to monetize his talent and his what became his brand. We didn't use that word back then,
Oh yeah.
but you know, he developed a brand that,
Mhm.
you know, created where he was a director, a producer, a writer. He owned businesses. He invested. You know, he did things. He monetized himself in a way that he became kind of an enterprise himself.
Mhm.
And so people are doing that more. You look at Taraji has her own line. Kevin Hart has the Hart House and
Right.
tequila and etc. You know, people are creating business off of their name and off of their value. And in order to sustain yourself, you have to be able to do that, because you can't just depend on somebody calling you, asking you to get in line and see whether you're the one that's going to be invited to the party. No, you have to create your own party. And so that's what I teach.
Mhm.
And you know, one thing is that that people cannot be in my class unless they start to discover and find what their purpose is.
Mhm.
Because I can teach someone who has a GPS and knows where they're going. I can also teach someone who doesn't, but they're not there with the same kind of commitment. They're not the same kind of fire in their belly. You know what I mean? It's a difference between someone who has a desire to do something and someone who can't live without it. And so I try to find those people who can't live without it.
Mhm.
And then I help to guide them towards finding that thing that they love, and that light, that North Star will never go out.
And that's what, and all of us have a North Star. It is our responsibility to
Right.
ourselves and to our fellow human beings that we come up and we show up with the best that we have to do. I leave it on the floor. When I did stand-up comedy for 15 years, I really wasn't trying to do stand-up comedy. I was trying to explain stuff to people. They just
Right.
kept laughing. I said, I can make a living at this. Really?
Right.
And ever since I
Right.
stepped on the stage, I have always been compensated. And I don't question God anymore. I don't question the universe. I watch, and I have a plan. I got 3 things I have to do: stay black, die, and pay taxes. Now, 2 of them I'm trying to figure out how not to do. That's die and pay taxes. But in the journey is a lot of it. And what did they say? When you prepare and you know if you're already ready, you don't have to get ready. And so you got to get ready. You got to be willing to do the work. Our
Right.
position is we make it look easy. I would have people on my radio program say, I can do that. I said, you did that 5 days a week, 4 hours a night. Come on. This is this is what I was put on the earth to do. I was put there to
Exactly.
check everybody. I am the regulator. I'm gonna check you, and you're gonna know you've been checked. And so many people are afraid of themselves. I ask
Right.
people, and like you said, you can see them and you can feel it from them because they have a passion for it. It's like you said, they just can't do without it. Just cannot do it without it. It's like our drug,
Right.
because we can do that. And the fact that you're teaching, do you teach kids at all, or you stay with the
I
adults?
look, every Tuesday, I go live with one of my mentees slash students.
Mm-hmm.
So for the last 7 years, I've had we had a mentee program where we mentored 100 students,
Mm-hmm.
100 kids
Mm-hmm.
that started when they were 12. And so I have been interviewing the kids that started at 12 and now they're like 18, 19, 20. And every Tuesday I go live on IG and talk to one of the students. And I have some amazing, amazing people. One girl, for instance, when she was with us at 12, she was reading on a second grade level. Now she's a brilliant uh, writer, filmmaker, animator, poet, wordsmith, and she's become well known and well respected for her ability to communicate. It's an amazing thing, and all the kids have all accomplished so much in the years that they've been with us. So yes, I do. I have it's called the Young Artist Program,
Okay.
and and they are all filmmakers because I teach them how to tell stories, and so they've learned to become filmmakers, and they're wonderful filmmakers and storytellers.
And when you come with your own truth and you're comfortable in your skin, because a lot of people that work in this industry, I was surprised at how shy a lot of them are. And to me, they feel, I mean, when they're around me, I'm just gonna be all over the place. And I was really surprised. This one comic, I think it was a movie screening. We went to with one of his films, and everybody, was just falling. He got so frightened of the audience coming at him like that. He wasn't used to that. He literally jumped behind me, and when he sees this show, you're gonna know exactly who I'm talking to. And I was just really surprised that he was that shy. He said, "Oh, if I didn't have a sense of humor, I don't know what I would do." I'm like, "You make a living at it." And you said this not just a moment ago. You said you got to love what it is, and talk about the business end of show business. When you see new artists coming in and you're cultivating them, what are some of the great mistakes or steps that they take? Or because a lot of them will talk themselves out of it. Like when you go in for an audition, I was like, I can't do audition. That's not my forte. That's not what I do.
Right.
When you know what you do and you're good at it, you're never going to get filled. You're never going to get full because you always see something else and something else and something else. How do you get to the people who, you got a great canvas and allow them to be the artist? What's your process when you started to teach? And did you ever think you was going to be a teacher?
I never thought I was going to be a teacher. That wasn't my dream. But, my mentor, who I really trust.
Oh, wait, I lost the audio. Wait, Richard, we lost the audio. Okay, he's trying to find the audio. This guy is an amazing guy. I don't know why I can't hear him. You can't hear me either, can you? I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Kennedy, this is so tacky. I don't know what happened. Say something, Richard. Can you hear me? He can't hear me. Okay, I'm trying to. You keep talking. Okay, I'll keep talking. Okay, we're having an issue here, but that's Richard Lawson. He is the founder and the head of a theater school. It's called Richard Lawson Studio. And he mentors young people. He mentors people who have been in the business, who are coming into the business. He's done a great deal of things, and now he's adding author to his resume. That's what he's going to do. It. That's a whole, and each one of these are a different process, are of a different mindset. I mean, you gotta, I think the best people to work with when you're in television and film are the ones who have been behind the camera as well as being in front of the camera. I think actors make good producers. Well, maybe not all of them, but most of them do. Because they know what it's like on both sides. They'll know what it's like on my side. They'll know what it's like on his side. When you're the author, and you got to be willing to just empty yourself out and allow yourself to be taught. And a lot of people don't want to do that. They think they're just going to show up automatically, just because you got a bunch of friends and they're in Hollywood that you're going to be able to do that. You got to work on it. This is a business. You have to, and it's every day. You got to get up and be on your grind every day. And a lot of people just kind of pretty much give up. They always too much work. It's too, well, if it were going to be easy, don't you think everybody would be an actor or an actress or a musician? Tell him. Yeah. Oh, Richard, if you can hear me, I don't know if you can see this. It says log out and then come back in. I'll still be talking. See if you can hang up and I'll call me and you come back into the studio while I sing your praises. And he's done so many things. I mean, movies, television, radio. He's an author now. Can you hear me yet? Okay, we just gonna keep right on moving. Oh, okay. He can't hear me. Okay. Can you see that? Ooh, shut up, mother love. Don't say that. Can you see it? Just hang up and then call me right back, right? Yeah. Hang up and call me right back. Okay. See if you can get him. I don't know what we got to do anyway.
Talk about that project.
He got so many things that he's doing. He first started in Golden Boy. This is something that, and I forgot about this, but you're supposed to be here for a reason. A few years back, well, this has been almost 20 years. Well, 2024, this is in 1992. He was on a U.S. Air flight and 405, and the plane crashed. 24 people perished in that wreckage, and 27 people died and 24 survived, and he was one of the he was one of the survivors on that. I remember that plane crash, and the fact that you the way that you come up like a champion and you keep going. It's like what they say, work every day, dance like nobody's watching you, do your thing. So and that's what's important when you discover, because it's always been there. People have to understand you're not here by happen chance. There's a reason for you to be here, to do what it is that you do, and you'll never work a day in your life. You know what job stands for, right? J-O-B, just over broke. And that's not the way you want to live your life. You don't want to just be kind of scratching it out. I can only do this thing. I can only be pigeonholed here. I feel uncomfortable doing it. I cannot carry a tune in a push cart. But don't let me sing, because I know I can't sing. Okay, I take that back. I don't sing well. How about that part? We all have some kind of a voice that we have. And you got to have it out there. And the fact that you have this working community, one of the comments that was made from one of your students said that you have changed her life because of what you were able to do and what she was able to learn from you. And that's when you're doing well. When people come in and tell you, you helped change my life. You got me on the right trajectory. Yeah, I came to see you in this. That was really good, Richard. That's all right. And it's got to be all right. Got to be all right. You got to make it all right. Oh, okay. And so, what you continue to do on a regular basis, you come out there every day, you do what it is that you love to do. And you really can't get any better than that, just to keep loving what you do and keep doing it. Step outside of your comfort zone. I think a lot of actors and actresses and people in the entertainment industry, they see their wealth, but they only see it according to somebody else. You have to know that you go in and you're priceless. They're paying you, getting compensated for what you know that you're going to do and what you're good at. It's just that, it's not really that simple, because you have to keep going and keep moving. And, like he has said, you got to have a plan. You got to have a plan. Make a plan. And okay, yeah, everything's not going to work 900 times a day. You're not going to be right all the time. That's what it's for. We make mistakes. We make mistakes in life. So you can't expect to be perfect, on your job or whatever it is that you do. Because when you think about it, you're just over broke. You don't need to be just over broke. You make a way. And this is from what I know that I know. When the universe opens up and you open up to the universe, will conspire. The universe will conspire for your success. And you have to let everybody know, it's just really, really something to do. You got to know and know what you're doing and know where you're going. And even if you kind of get sidetracked, because sometimes we get sidetracked, or we'll stop. Okay, well, that's just too much. I don't think I want to keep giving that much of my time to this. Because when you know what you're doing and you love what you do, you and learn the business. Learn the business first, because if you don't know your business, somebody gonna come along and tell you what to do, who you are, whose you are, where you're gonna go, and they want to put you in a pigeonhole. Oh, I'm having a meltdown. There we go. We are back. And you got to do the work. And if this, like I said, if this were easy, anybody could do it. But everybody can't do it. Everybody is not meant to do this. You got to find out where your worth is. You've got to know where your worth is. And first, I didn't even think that I could do something like this, And then once I got into it, I started moving with it, and I was like, the universe just continues to open up and conspire for my success. And my success is to be able to share what I know, share what I've learned. People always say to me, Mother Love, why are you telling them to so and so and such and such? What am I gonna do with it? They didn't knock themselves out. Oh, I heard them saying something. You said on TV or on the radio. You know what? God, I am allowed to empty out, and God just fills me right back up, and I can empty out and fill it all back up. Yeah, one of the things that I don't like to backtrack. You know, I go from the lessons that I've learned, the lessons that I've learned from other people. I mean, I came out here with, well, I did have I had a job on the radio. Well, it wasn't a job. It was really like going to a party 2 times a day. I did morning and afternoon drive on a contemporary hit radio station in my hometown. Who gets famous in their hometown? And they sent for me to come. They saw something in me that I didn't even see. Okay, I think I got them back. Hello, can you hear me? Oh wait, I'm still talking. I can put some. It won't let me. Okay, it won't come up. Okay, Kennedy. Anyway, and what is really tough, and where you really find out where your metal is. You find out where your metal is. Oh, that's okay. Are we back?
I hope so.
Yeah, we're back. We're back. See, I had you back. I do it. You know, Satan try to be busy all the time. But now we got it back. So I was just sharing with them, coming into this business and understanding the business of show business. You got the talent, you've got the voice, you know what to do. Now, how you going to monetize it? And people, remember 10, 15 years ago, they didn't tell us that. They told, this is what you're going to work. Here's your contract. Love it or leave it. Don't negotiate. Don't even understand that you have power to do that. When did you know that Richard Lawson had Richard Lawson all up in there?
Well, my mentor was part of his teaching was in terms of really understanding that you had control of your own destiny.
Mm-hmm.
You either were at effect to your fate or you had a control of your own destiny.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's in terms of being able to see what it is that you wanted and then being able to go after it. And so I learned early on, and really from the first time when I started going out on auditions, and I really realized that, that they had Black actors in a particular category. You were a Black actor, which means you were one of the diversity groups. And just for clarification, there's only one real group and everybody else is a diversity group. White women, Black men, Black women, Asians, everything else was a diversity group. But then you were a Black actor, which gave you a qualification. You weren't an actor who happened to be Black. You were a Black actor, so that diminished your thing. So I understood early on that I needed to have a very particular viewpoint about myself.
Mm-hmm.
And go after the things that I desired, the things that I saw, which I would have to create for myself.
Mm-hmm.
That I needed to produce my own thing. I needed to control my own destiny. I didn't want to just sit and wait in a line for somebody else to come and and tell me that I was the one that's invited to the party. So I've always been a promoter, creator. I always understood that, what is a horn for?
You gotta blow it.
You gotta toot your own horn. So one of the first things that I ask somebody is like, what is it that you want? What is your dream?
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to work with? What do you want to do? How do you see yourself? Do you want to write your own stuff? Do you want to work with this particular person? Do you want to work with whoever it is you want to work with?
Mm-hmm.
Target those people. You go after those people. You set it up. You figure out how can you meet those people. You create evidence so that those people can see what it is that you can really do. The iPhone has changed the game because now people can create their own product. There is no shortage of possibilities. If you look at Netflix, there's the content on Netflix is just unbelievable in terms of the amount of Black people and Black faces that you see. So there's no excuse for someone not being able to create their own product.
Mm-hmm.
And even in the process of doing that, how do you create an industry? So therefore, in terms of like for instance, here's one of the things that I'm doing is starting something called Third Act Solutions, which is the fact that, in the last year I lost 60 pounds and I'm working out and, my body's changing and I'm
and you look good. You look good.
Thank
Let me
you.
tell you something. Some of them be tore up from the floor up. I'm like, you take care of yourself. You have to watch them. And you got to take care of yourself, your mind, your body, your spirit. One of the hardest things for me was to get toxic people, distance myself from toxic people, and people don't understand and they think, oh, she being mean. She thinks she's better than anybody. I don't think I'm better than anybody. Right. I know why you're pissed off at me though, because I make smarter choices than you. Right. And you want to sit over there in the corner. I can't believe you just got up and went to California. I'm like, really? That's why, and you don't need to be around those kind of people. And you need to be. You said no. What is no in your book? What is no in your book? I love your no.
No, listen, no has to be a motivator. No has to turn you on. I can't really express how I really say it. No makes my
black ass shine.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So tell me no. Because I played with some guys, I used to, I miss these guys, but every Sunday we would go play golf and they would say, and I'd get around, like 16, 17, that's when you're getting down to the crunch and you either gonna win or lose. And if I'm behind, they would say, listen, leave him alone. Don't give him a reason to get fired up because of the fact that if I'm an underdog, it's gonna turn me on because that's what I really bear down, right? This is a business about no. People tell you no. That's what you used to hearing. You understand? So no has to be a motivator so that you can bust through that. Otherwise, they're gonna be singing Midnight Train to Georgia. You know what I'm saying? Because you're gonna be going back home. And I'm not that quitter. So therefore, somebody that stops me or is trying to prevent something, it makes me go hard. And you have to go hard.
What they say in St. Louis, I can show you better than I can tell you.
There you go. See, that's
so, and no has to be a motivator because I'm like, well, you don't even know what I can do. You don't even know what I'm about. So when you tell me no, okay, fine. Then you go show. I had an agent one time at one of these big talent agencies, and he couldn't stand me. And I said, well, I want to get somebody else because he doesn't like me. He don't even get them. He couldn't understand how, as a big, fat, black, loud woman, could be a success in the entertainment industry, and I couldn't be put in a box. I told him I'm behind too big to fit in a box. You got to go get a whole shed. What you talking about? No. Walk. No. You got to know who you want to work with. You brought that up. That's a very important.
Right.
And how do can you teach people to say no and understand that no is a complete sentence? You don't have to stand there and barter with them.
You can teach it. You can teach. Let me just do one thing real quick. Mm-hmm. I want to say happy birthday because I see it come up in the feed here. Kiki Shepherd.
Hey, sweetie pie.
Beautiful Kiki.
I love her. She love her mother love too. I see.
Yeah.
My baby. Oh yeah, and you could bring your behind on the show again too, Kiki. Such a good time with her, and we have so much talent out here. Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't even know. I don't think you would even know how to wear one hat.
I don't. I'm not a one hat wearer.
Is that a word? Did you just make that up?
I'm not a one hat wearer. I should have a cap with like bills that I turn. This one. What am I right now? Producer, director, But let me just say this. You said, how do you teach someone to say no? When someone is attached to their purpose, clarity ensues. And therefore, you understand, you have a North Star. You have a GPS that is going to continue to reroute you through the no's and the trouble and all of that and the stops and, you run up on the China wall. You understand? Somebody that accepts no is going to turn back. Somebody who doesn't accept no is going to find a way to go through it, go under it, go around it, go over it, somehow or another. That is just it's just an obstacle. It's not a stop. You can't have any stops. You just have obstacles, challenges.
And you have to keep it moving. Now, you want to take and spend all the money that you spent on acting classes or music classes and, whatever it is that you're going to do, then because it's not going your way, you quit. That's just isn't me. When I tell you I'm done with something, I'm done with it. I don't look back. And it was hard for me to say. It used to be hard for me to say no to people because I wanted everybody to be happy around me. I wanted everybody to have a good time. Till you find out people that really are not there for you to help you be better. If anything was say, Richard, who you think you are? Oh, now you're gonna open up an acting school? Oh yeah, right, really? When you start to understand that you have the power, you can't let anybody take it away from you. No. And they do, and they'll how many people? It's just an endless supply of people in our industry who the drugs have just taken them over, and they don't know what to do, and for me, I think that's because they don't know who they are. They don't know whose they are. They don't know who should be in their camp, As much work as you do, I couldn't even imagine. Well, you just tell me, has it ever been, you don't have to call it in. Has there ever been anybody that you worked with that you wish you didn't or wish you could work with?
Well, I have worked with a lot of people that I loved working with. And there are people who, there are concepts and ideas that I have. Like, for instance, ironically, this is a mistake, but you have no idea how often this has happened, maybe 5,000 times in my career, that I have been confused with, that people get me and Lawrence Hilton Jacobs mixed up. And so on this show, the invitation said at 2:00 on July 15th, Lawrence Hilton Jacobs is coming on. So
wait, say that again.
So this show, the title page says Lawrence Hilton Jacobs, July 15th at 2 p.m. And it's cool because of the fact that this is all the time, right? Mm-hmm. And I say that only because who would I like to work with? We've had this, me and a group of guys have had this concept to do this gathering of these old timers, these cats in the business like me and Glenn Turman and Lawrence Hilton Jacobs and Art Evans and a few other people to get together.
I know all of those guys. Yeah.
Right. To get together and do a piece with all of us. Mm-hmm. And so we have an idea. Larry and I have been talking about an idea as a play of some kind for us to get together, and it's a great idea. Now, of all the people that I would love to work with, now that idea and that concept excites me. But I've been very fortunate over the course of my career to have worked with great people. I think Larry just came on, and so he's on Facebook. So Larry, we've been confused again, buddy.
And I was saying, that's Richard Lawson. That's not. That is not.
They're calling me Lawrence Hilton Jacobs.
Oh yeah, then they gave you a new name, Richard Lawrence Hilton Jacobs. Mm-hmm.
You know what? That's not a bad one, Richard Lawrence Hilton Jacobs.
Wait a minute, come in a little closer. I can't hardly hear you.
You can't hardly hear me?
Okay, now I can. Everything's cool.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So anyway. Those are my boys. I love them.
See, you know what? Now, do you and he get around to doing this? And why does it still confuse people? Why do you think they still confuse? I mean, if you got to be confused with anybody, why do you think people still think your name is Lawrence?
I don't listen. It for the life of me, maybe it's just our energy, but when I say 5,000 times, because I'm talking about 40 years, when I say 5, I am not exaggerating. At least 5,000 times.
I believe
if I'm gonna be confused with anybody, it would be him. So we good.
At least they're not confusing you with somebody who's not good at what they do. That is so cool, though. Now, hey, this is something I was sharing this with people while we were having our little technical difficulties, because you were in plane crash that over 25 people lost their lives, and you were one of the survivors. You know, what was that like for you?
Well,
did your world become clearer?
You know, the revelation in that for me was the fact that I knew the plane was going to crash. I had that message as clear as day, and I sat on that plane, or even before I got on that plane, my spirit kept telling me, you know, boy, take your ass home. You don't want to fly this plane. Just go home. And I didn't have the sense that the plane was going to crash before I got to the airport. But just before I stepped across the threshold to go on that plane, it became very clear to me. And I sat down on that plane because there were two sides working. There was two sides of my spirit. One side that is the middle class part of me that said, you know, what you gonna tell the end? Because I was flying for the NBA. I was going to meet with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And so there was part of me that says, you know, what you gonna tell the NBA? That you were scared to fly? How's that gonna land? They're gonna say, maybe you need to find you another job.
Okay.
To fly. And I was battling that and saying, no, come on, man, just sit your butt down. I sat down, my spirit said, get off this plane. And then one thing after another, I went and first sat in seat 6A. And Michael Doherty, who recognized me when I was in the waiting area, you know, wanted me to sign an autograph for his wife. And I said, shit, this is an opportunity for me to get in first class. So I signed a love letter. I did a whole love letter to her, and he said, I'm gonna move you up if we get an open seat. And so I got on the plane. There was only one row of first class. So I said, there ain't no chance of me getting up there. So I went and sat in 6A. Just before the door closed, he came on and waved me forward, right? So I go to get my stuff and I go forward. And these two women sitting in row 5 on one side and 5 on the other said, can we sit in your seat? And I said, absolutely. And so, you know, I went to 1F and they went and sat in row 6. And so the plane, I had the whole experience sitting there battling back and forth. And then finally the plane takes off. And the last thing I say to myself, Richard, stand up. They can't fly if you just stand up. And I didn't because of this, you know, public self, my spirit and that middle class where we don't want to make wrong. We don't want to be, you know, put down, and we want to be liked and all of that stuff. And I sat there on that plane, and that plane took off, and it was going too slow, and it took off. And then when it took off, it started to swerve to the left, and then out my window, because I was sitting on the right side, I saw all the terminals light up orange. Well, later I realized that the plane, something exploded, and the plane tumbled into the water, and I wound up trapped in the water in my seat. And I sat there and dealing with the reality of, well, you made a bad choice. You could have made a different choice. And I wrestled with that until my spirit, you know, the voices started coming to me, the positive voices in my mouth. I heard my mother, I heard Milton, I heard Sonny Jim Gaines, a friend of mine in New York, who was like a mentor to me, say, get up, you know, get up, fight this, don't accept this. And I started to fight back and pull stuff off of me, and my seatbelt, oh yeah, my seatbelt. And because I was in the front, all of the stuff that caved in around me. And finally I was able to free myself and hit the surface of the water at the same time that I was about to drown. And so I made it out of the plane. And just to show you how life can bring you back to yourself, I got up on the shore and was walking towards, I couldn't breathe. I had my teeth were chattering. I had hypothermia, I didn't know it. But I was walking towards the terminal, and I saw this dude running across the tarmac with a hooded sweatshirt on. He was running, and he started coming to me, and I said, hey, brother, can can you help me? Can you help me? And he said, yeah, man, come on, I got. Hey, man, you that dude on all my children. What's going on, brother?
I'm almost trying here. Can you help me?
It was such an out of place plane crash. I'm here soaking wet. And that's what he vibed on. And that sort of brought me back to like the world and the fact that I was able to make it out of there. But the one thing, the greatest lesson I think for me is know what you know. Trust that spirit, that voice, that inner knowingness. Trust the God in you. You have every answer for everything you ever need. You just have to make the right choice, because one of the choices that you have is going to be the right choice. Mm-hmm. And it's the harder choice. It's always the harder choice. It's always the most barren choice. Right. It's always the one that's not glitter or gold or pretty or whatever. It's the tougher choice. Mm-hmm. It's whether you're going to have a glass of water or you're going to have a Coke because it tastes better, you think. You know, it's the little decisions. And so therefore, as you go forward in life, for me, I listen to my inner voice against, listen, Ralph Waldo Emerson, one of my favorite writers, says, genius is following your first impression with good-humored inflexibility, even when the whole cry of voices is on the other side. So you have to stand resolute in your truth, even when everybody's telling you how wrong you are.
Oh, of course. And that's the part that I didn't understand about having toxic people around me and in my inner circle, and I could make the decision about the kind of people I wanted to be around professionally and personally. And I think it's just imperative when you know that you have some kind of a map, some kind of a blueprint, even if you go all off the table with it. Have some kind of a, this is what I want to do, this is what and what they say about it, whatever you're doing by the time you turn 35, that's gonna be what you're gonna be doing for the rest of your life. And I'd said right there, I'm not gonna be working like this. I'm not working like no Hebrew slave. I'm too cute to be working in a factory. Not that there's anything wrong with people working in a factory. There's nothing wrong with that. My husband, when I met him, he worked at the factory for one of them big car places. And so, but you still have to know. You have to know what kind of people you want to have around you. What kind of people that you need. And I tell you, man, I don't know where I would be without my girlfriends. Without my boyfriends. People have literally picked me up off the ground and held me and said, we're going to help you get the Band-Aid. We're going to get the Band-Aid, patch yourself up, and you're going to be all right. I have to say, just like you said, people said you 5,000 times that they thought you were Lawrence Hilton Jacobs. And you're like, so, and you don't have a problem with correcting them. And then if you do that, okay, that's the guy from All My Children. I don't care what he's doing. And that's the beautiful thing, though. What you leave when you go out and as an actor, you got to be ready to be filled up with whatever it is. And I always thought that actors make better producers and directors. Yeah, I said it.
Yeah.
And they didn't like me speaking up for myself. I said, well, y'all didn't give me the Hollywood handbook. What? I got to go on what I know. I know.
Yeah.
And this is what I know. And I was telling you about this funky agent I had. And he was always telling me, well, you need to change your name. And you need to do this. And you need to do that. You need to lose some weight. I'm like, if you're going to pay my 6-figure thing I got with the plus size clothes, you can do that. Okay. Because if you don't like what I'm wearing, please reach your hand down in your jeans and give me the money so I go put on what you want me. You talk too much. You talk back. When he said, I talk back, I told him, I'm from the projects, so I keep got my little container right there, my Vaseline, pull these hoops off, and when we start pulling off hair and putting on Vaseline, we ready to scrap. And I'm not a fair fighter. I am not a fair fight. I don't like to get involved with stuff like that because I'm the chick that while you taking your jacket off, I'm to smash you in the head with a brick.
Right.
So don't come at me like that. He told me when he said, as a black actor, I came in the door with like all the boxes checked for why you should not hire me. That's what they said. And I was like, and then it was pissed off that I was sent for it from my hometown to come to California and had a big fat contract. They couldn't take how she did that, who she working with. He told me one time, I had just moved to another morning show program on the radio, and we were coming out there, was introducing the new team, and they said, and Mother Love, oh, they just went berserk. And we were down you've been down there where the players go and they got the hallway and everything before he came past me, he said, you were just like a freaking cancer. You spread everywhere. Everybody just loves you. I said, you pissed off that you don't like me because I know what a drunk you are. And I told them that. I said, I don't want him representing me under any circumstances. And all he wanted to do was talk about, I said, that's the best you got, fat and black. First of all, I wasn't fat. I was fluffy. Second of all, I'm not black. You got on a black shirt. I could tell where your shirt ends and where your shirt and your skin begin. They always, I don't know why they can't pick black though. Have you been to Africa?
What you say?
Have you been to Africa?
Oh, I have. Listen, going to Africa changed my life. We took 10 mentees to Africa, to Ghana for the year of the return. Actually, it was the next year of the return, 2020. And it was an amazing experience. I had just found out that I was like 38% Nigerian and 20% Ghanaian. So when I went to the slave dungeons, I realized that I was standing on my own DNA. And because some of my people had to come through, that dungeon. They call it castle, ironically, but then in understanding the resilience of what it took in order to cross that water, the ocean, and be able to survive that, and then be able to survive being enslaved. And then I looked at my great grandfather who bought himself out of slavery and then went and bought his brothers and sisters out of slavery, and then they became major landowners around outside of Lafayette, and he taught people how to sharecrop, and taught them that to take one man taking 1,000 pounds of cotton to a gin is going to get X, but 100 black men taking 100,000 pounds of cotton to a gin, they're going to get X to the 10th power. That it gave them power and ownership and to be able to control their own destiny. That's the stock that I came from. And it gave me a whole nother reality about myself and about my own resilience and my ability to withstand whatever and to bounce back and to make things go right. And so that was one of the most important trips of my life. Ironically, the young mentee that I'm going to have on tomorrow was one of the girls who went to Africa, and it changed all of their lives to be able to see all those black people,
it is very humbling. And talk about resilient, and we're still standing. We are still standing on the shoulders of our ancestors. I came back from Africa. First of all, they had to drug me to get me back on the plane because I wasn't coming back to America. I was going to be there. And that was the first time I actually felt I was whole now. I see where the resilience comes from. I see when the fellas be out there on the corner singing up under the street lamp, and why all the women, they get the village together, and they all raising their kids together. And we are a family of community. And that's why we can hold it together. And you know why God made us like this, right? You know why God, because he knew you could handle it.
There you go. I get that. I trust that.
I came back I literally came back I was in a different mindset. And I always had this, you can't tell me no, well, you could tell me no, but I could show you better than I could tell you. Right. When we went to Africa and would wake up to that sunset and go to sleep to the sun going down, and people worked all day from sun up to sundown. Right. And it was, everybody took part in the village. And that's when I think That's for me one of our biggest problems here is Americans who are descendants from Africa. That we don't stick together anymore like we're supposed to. The fact that I saw the need for a studio that could help young people, make their vision clearer and become successful at what they do.
Right. I know we're probably going to end this in a few minutes, but I just wanted to say one thing.
Listen, wait a minute, hold up, baby, wait a minute. This is our program. We can end it when we want to. I told you, not gonna tell me no. You want to sit here with me till 4 o'clock? That couldn't happen. I had to take a psychological test. Yeah. My husband and I were adopting some kids, and so at the time, they had us do a psychological test, and of course, I'm gonna look at mine and be no. The first page, this patient thinks very highly of herself. Comfortable in her own skin. My mother used to say, if she saw me and a bear in a fight, she'd get a bear a stick. I didn't know what that meant till I became an adult, but that's what we do. You see me? You see the bear? Oh, you don't think I can outrun that bear. All I gotta do is outrun you. So don't even try it. And we don't take up young people, seriously anymore. I mean, you used to be a kid, you could go ask all kind of questions. Now they put your face in front of one. What is the little thing? The cell phone. You get your cell phone, and this is how you communicate. How you communicate is like this. Yeah. This is something else. After you were telling me about the plane crash, the work that you did. You were and this is for a while, from 1983 to 1994, you helped to administer and run the drug education training, treatment, and aftercare program for the National Basketball Association, the National Basketball Players Association. So you got big guns everywhere. Yeah. What was that like having to, because, a lot of our athletes and entertainers, they come from very humble beginnings. And they start making a lot of money and they don't have any idea how to manage that money, how to keep going, the whole thing. I was like Payless Shoe Source. I could pay more, but why? Yeah. Why can't I get the bargains? Why can't I get the deal? And nobody could come back and give me an answer to say, okay, well, that's what you're going to do, mother. I know it ain't. Right. I don't know. I thank God every day for just today to get the pleasure of talking to and speaking with what a powerhouse such as yourself. So you got something going on Netflix, don't you?
No, actually, it's Amazon. I have
Amazon, Netflix. Help me out.
I have actually the #1 film globally is a film called Divorce in the Black. Tyler Perry directed it, wrote it, produced it, of course, but Megan Good and Corey Hardrick and me and Debbie Morgan again. We play the eternal parents, and we play a hell of a parents in this. And Taylor Polidor and Shannon Wallace and a bunch of wonderful people in this. And I mean, it's killing. It's people are.
Give us the gist of Divorce in the Black. That's the name of it, Divorce in the Black?
Divorce in the Black, yeah. It's about Megan, who is married to this man who's really from, a family that is kind of very dysfunctional. And so it's about abuse, it's about love, it's about self-care, taking care of yourself, understanding when it's time to end something. And I play a preacher who is a loving parent, along with Debbie, trying to influence our daughter to make the choice of herself over this continued abuse, which she's gotten used to. And the film is about the journey from her recognition of her self-realization. And people are loving the film. The critics are hating it, but the people are loving it. But you know what? A lot of that has to do with just the fact that Tyler has a target on his back. And the people who have chosen to dislike Tyler, I don't care what he does, they're going to find a reason to dislike it. But let me say this to you though. What Tyler has created in Atlanta and what he's doing in the business and the people that he's hiring and the opportunity that he's giving to people is unbelievable. How just generosity to to paying people what they deserve, is like unmatched. It's such a wonderful thing to see all of the family environment that he creates there, and I mean, he's
And it's like you said, if they're gonna find some reason, and the only reason why people say that they don't like him is because they're not him. It's because they're not him. And, pushing too many buttons. Push too many buttons. So you're working on is this recurring? I mean, is it a series?
No, this is a film. This is a film. The Netflix thing you're talking about is the series that's next, and that's called Beauty in Black, and that's a 16-episode series on Netflix, and it's off the chain. It's a super rich family, and and all of them niggas is crazy.
See, $5. You use the N-word, $5.
Oh, okay. All
you
right.
gotta put it in the cuss jar. And I got a potty mouth, so you know how to control that. So what's next coming up? What's next coming up? Oh, let me thank your publicist, Cynthia Busby at Busby Promotions, for getting us together. Please know that I'm gonna always be here for you. As long as I'm here, you got to be here. Peace and blessings to you, ladies and gentlemen. That there is Richard Lawson, loving you and loving you.